So, we really doing this?
Yes.
I can't think of a reason not to. Besides, we already tried the PSP games with Ratchet and Clank, and I ain't doing them.
That's fair. So, with that all said, thank you very much, voice in my head. Welcome to Daxter, everybody. You may remember we did a look at this game a while back, where just before his reputation went to utter shit, we also talked briefly about Butch Hartman. But thankfully, we won't be doing any sort of thing with this playthrough. Hopefully, it depends, because honestly, Daxter in and of itself is probably the better of all the PSP spin-offs that Jack and Daxter and Ratchet and Clank got. Though it's still pretty, it's there. That's all I'll say. It's there. It's still good, but it is there.
I think it's a harmless enough thing.
I mean, like, considering like you mentioned before, considering the other, competitors in that regard, particularly from Ratchet's side, unfortunately enough, it wasn't exactly a high hurdle to toss.
Not really. And mainly it's funny, too, because I think it was the first among all those spin-offs. And the developers, Ready at Dawn, were also responsible for the God of War games on here, and later on in their career, for better or worse, they were also behind probably the most movie game ever to grace the PS4, complete with QuickTime events.
They're the ones that did the Order 1886?
I believe they are, yes.
Huh. Well, beyond that, new to our coverage of the Jack and Daxter franchise, we have Doug joining us for this spin-off. That's him there, holding up Jack right now. That was just perfect timing. But
it all started off as humble beginnings when he was just a little rat bastard, and then later on in his life he literally became Jesus.
Yep.
We're not going back to Misty Island.
We do not go to Misty Island. That ain't that bad. So yeah, so to catch everybody up to speed, back when I did my Jack 2 Electric Boogaloo Return of Jafar playthrough in Haven City, for those who recall, immediately after finding that great precursor of vehicle thing at the end of the Precursor Legacy. What the?
But please, don't leave now.
How can you say that to the Keebler elf?
After all
Keebler elf after his heydays.
But immediately after activating that machine, the metalhead leader blasted us into the future. Spoilers for anyone who hasn't played Jack 2, shame on you. And in the midst of all that chaos, someone was expecting our return. And Errol and the Crimson Guard immediately clobber Jack. And
give or take 2 years.
Oh boy.
Wow.
Oh jeez.
And as far as Jack 2 is concerned, the minute... Oh.
Where'd he go?
I don't know.
Where'd who go?
That little crazy orange. Whatever he is, I'll show him.
You got it, Mr. Crimson Guard. But yeah, as far as Jack 2 is concerned, the minute Daxter said that line, if he'll save us for you, before you
2
know
years
it,
later, almost.
2 years had just about passed, so...
I mean, it's good to see that Dexter's no worse for wear.
Yeah.
Apparently, he adapted to Haven City a lot better than we gave him credit for. The only thing I'll give him the only thing I will give him flack for is that he never really had as much of this bravado as he did in Jack 2 when we were meeting all those other new characters. Like, he pretended like... He acted as though like he was just reacting to all this just as confused as Jack was.
Can you speak up, son?
I was about to say, maybe he only, took occupation in, a certain section of Haven City, as opposed to, in 2, where he explored the entirety of it with Jack.
That is a good point, considering even in this game, we only go through, a small portion of, the industrial portion of Haven City.
Yeah, and maybe a little bit of the residential area in the upper, portions, but nowhere near, the slum.
I have to assume higher class, because, this game kind of treats it as though... the dictatorship of Baron Praxis isn't even that big of a deal.
I guess not a lot had happened, or he was just that busy with the Dark Eco project, but for now, we need somebody, we need some reason to keep Daxter active in the platforming industry, so...
Move along, old man. You had me at hello, but you had to push it.
In short, would you like a job working for me? I'll make it worth your while.
Forget it, buddy. I don't know nothing about exterminating, and I hate bugs.
Well, you're gonna have to learn to love them in this game, Daxter.
Hey, what? You take it.
Oops.
Wonderful. Meet me at the shop.
Too late.
And welcome aboard.
So yeah, I'll just convince myself that what happened was Daxter was just busy spending the first 2 of those years in his box office debut of Dinosaur.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right, because for reference sake, and as part of the Disney Marathon that we mentioned here and there, we were actually watching that last night at the time of recording. It was so devil-damn enthralling that I actually dozed off in the middle of it.
I was drinking.
Sorry.
I mean, it was also incredibly late for you, so...
There's
no one
that.
loved
Looks
you.
like the bugs won.
What was that?
Nothing.
So,
Everything with more than 2 legs starts
this
trembling.
is again the
'Cause
owner of this
that's the
place,
way everything
voiced
will
by one Dana Kelly.
Spirit, are you ready?
Has he done anything else in his career, or is this literally the only thing he's got to himself?
For what it's worth, believe it or not, Osmo here does appear in the Jack X combat racing game.
No.
Ah, yes, he is a bonus racer that you can get if you, of all things. Jack X sort of had this whole connectivity thing with Daxter, believe it or not, via the PSP. Which is funny, considering Daxter came out a few months later. But among the bonuses you can get, you can play as Osmo, and some of the other side characters you'll meet in this game.
Interesting.
I want
Fair
you to go
enough.
and take out all the loose bugs in the local hotel. Go get 'em.
So yeah, with an electric fly swatter, we got ourselves our first job.
Your first job is at the West Side Hotel.
Oh yeah, fair enough. What was it? I mean, that's the other thing is that like I've actually been thinking of covering Jack X like to some capacity because I mean I have it on the PlayStation first of all, and the second or PlayStation 5, sorry, and second of all, the soundtrack's actually really fun.
Oh yeah, no, like I mean, I like to think that game's worth checking out just because it does, even if it is still a racing spin-off at the end of the day, it still covers. It is still a Jack story.
Yep,
Yeah.
there's some to it.
Was Naughty Dog involved in that one too, or was that a different company?
That was still Naughty Dog.
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
I mean, that was pretty much their main project. Whereas again, we have Daxter here, which was made by a separate Sony company.
So, Doug, I gotta wonder, what has your involvement been with the Jack and Daxter series?
Let's see. I know a couple of years ago when I was still playing more platformers, like Sonic, Rayman, getting most into those platformers. I think it was one of my cousins that gave me a copy of the original Jack and Daxter. I played through it, but I stopped because of the cave level. Spiders, no given.
You're
But,
not a fan of spiders.
I have arachnophobia.
Oh, okay. Well,
So
and,
that's something you and Matt have in common.
yep.
Yeah.
And well, get ready to
I'm
watch
slowly getting
Daxter,
I'm slowly getting used to it, but fuck tarantulas.
Yes.
Understood.
You must be the exterminator. Mr. Crew, our best customer.
Fun fact,
pleased you're here,
This is also Max.
But I don't like the looks of you. The bugs up here ate the
Huh.
last exterminator.
This is definitely not a voice I'd expect out of him.
Anyway,
I mean, he
can't
does
get
show his
to the
range.
elevator, but I've lost the key somewhere.
He's a Broadway actor, don't you
Have a
know?
look round for it, will you?
All right, thank you, Mr. Conciergeman.
Look for it.
If you can.
Well, while we're looking around, as Daxter noted earlier, precursor orbs are still a thing. They're a little more plentiful in this game than they have been in the other sequels.
Right.
And like before, they're primarily means to unlock some nice goodies.
Okay.
Not the least of which include mini games we'll get to encounter later. And I will be, at the very least, I'll get enough precursor orbs to show off every mini game this game has to offer. But beyond that, it's not going to be a huge priority.
They are quite interesting with what they got away with.
Yeah, I mean, if some of the if one fancy little line that Osmo sputtered earlier in this game is not indicative enough of how shameless this game can get with its references.
Oh right, I forgot.
Thank you.
Well, how about this? So you stopped Jack 1 at some point, Doug. Did you ever Did you ever venture into any of the other sequels?
I have not, but I've seen a couple of clips of it. Not too much since it
Okay.
has been years since I've seen them. But with Daxter in particular, this is actually my blind look at.
Oh well, all right then. Well, hopefully we'll.
I knew of
get
Daxter,
you
I
all-
just never looked at the gameplay.
So I will say, off the top of my head, as far as arachnophobia is concerned, in Jack 2, I know that right near the end of the game, you do start to face against some metalheads that are based on spiders. Here we just have some ticks.
Oh yeah, I guess that's another thing worth mentioning. That I mean, yeah, Jack in his sequels primarily dealt with metal heads. Daxter deals with metal bugs, pretty much their primordial form, as far as this game is concerned.
More picking on guys his size.
Exactly.
No guns needed. Let's see. So there's
Although
that.
we do get something that's sort of like a gun.
Oh, well, I mean, that'll be later, and that's for anybody who also noticed on the cover art of this game when it first came out. That's its own weird little thingy. So when we did the original look at it, I want to say we covered at least like one or two of the main stages. I think we did the construction site, and I want to say here's our first like real like metalhead bug. Just do a full combo and bam.
Mm-hmm. And you can get skull gems from them, which, for the sake of this game, all it really matters is that there are certain levels that require you to gather a certain amount of them to consider it a complete mission. Otherwise, they really have no other purpose.
Now, as far as like the criteria for collecting between missions, how strict do they usually get in terms of like the numbers required to pass through?
You do need to kill off the majority of the bugs, but even then, majority of them are, if not, most if not all of them are usually along the way anyway. So, at worst, you're probably only going to miss, like, maybe 5 or 10.
Okay.
Let's see if I can reach that.
Ooh,
barely.
nice. I didn't think you could. I think you could get that one, but all right.
One other thing you could do before you even get your first big hovering power-up, you can also press the square button in order to do this little kick attack that's a little flimsy right now, but you can upgrade it later.
Makes sense. Combat
Also, this is something I'm not sure if I'm really going to bother showing off, but there are certain collectibles that relate to this combat bug minigame that you can access through the title screen, which pretty much this game's vain attempt to try and get kids to collect them all and battle each other Pokemon style.
I was gonna say that I feel like with some of these games it would have to be like just some sort of contractual obligation of, hey, we want to sell people on the wireless multiplayer function of this to other people, so include something that not justifies, include something that encourages that.
I wonder if I could reach that one.
Nope. Whoa.
Oh, it does.
The funny thing is that the freaking controllers ate my other jump. So
I was gonna say I feel like it's one of those things where unless you jump soon enough after the first one, then it doesn't. Nope.
Yeah. Nope. You need another power up to grab it, which I mean, it's kind of out of the way anyway, so I'm not even gonna worry about it.
Okay.
Although, I guess that being said, I guess that's something, unless you covered it already and I just wasn't paying attention, how exactly are you going to be handling completion in terms of this playthrough?
Again, I'll just worry about getting, at the very least, 500 precursor orbs, because that's how many you need just to unlock all the minigames. Beyond that, it's going to be a pretty bare basic run.
Okay.
Which thankfully this game doesn't demand an awful lot. Oh, and actually here would be a good time to do that thing the curator, the concierge told us earlier, that the plants are a little antsy at the moment. They're getting a little hungry, so you might want to sneak past them. But that's like the only time you really absolutely need to do it like this.
Oh,
because apparently sneaking around like this can leave you undetected, which that's fine and good. For like this portion. Afterwards, it really means Jack and shit.
I mean,
so it's about.
Or excuse me, Jack and Daxter.
There it is.
I'm a funny man.
I would say because it normally looks like most of these enemies you can take in a simple one-on-one up and personal fight. But anywho,
there will be some bugs later on that will require at least a little more means of subduing than just your standard four hit combo swatting move.
All right. Let's see. Doug, I had one, and I don't believe Hype had one. I think James may have had one, but did you ever have a PSP?
Yes, actually, it was my brother's.
Oh, fair enough.
Nice.
My brother also had one, and I sometimes borrowed it occasionally.
Yay, sharing!
So what games did you usually play on it?
Yeah.
The only game I remember, it was that one GTA game. That's it. My brother...
Chinatown Wars?
I think it was. Well, when it comes to my brother in gaming, he only plays, like... I remember the last one, other than fucking football, was GTA. He's a football kind of gamer, which I'm just like...
See,
no.
It's not really my thing. I get that there's not... Oh, jeez! I get that there's... do these ticks even damage you, or are they just annoying?
Oh, yeah, they can damage you.
Oh, dear. But yeah, it's just like... Oh, man, it's like... Oh, I see. That's okay. There. It's like... I understand that there's got to be an audience for them. I don't know. A sports game, even like Mario Strikers and things, like after like the 15th or 16th game, I feel like you've already seen literally everything the game can toss your way.
Actually, it's like there is an audience for it. It's called people that can't afford to actually go to the ball games themselves.
I mean, how much more would it cost for a ticket just compared to an actual like game?
Especially now that everybody, including Xbox, is now confirming that they're going to start bumping the price up to $70 a game.
I mean, that's just kind of how it is now that we're currently in the PS5/Xbox Series spectrum of games.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
And I mean, say whatever you will about that. It's also one of those things where, like, you could be that hoity-toity old coot that says, nobody should pay $70 for a video game, and then you just look back at the 90s like, ha! That's child's play.
We had to pay $90. Really? No correction?
Not really, no. But actually, while we're here, humble days of a young crew.
Oh my god, you're right.
Oh, what do you know?
That took me a second. Like my brain had to like piece together all that I was looking at. I'm like, oh no.
The last thing the world needed to see was Crew when he was just a tot.
And isn't it like, doesn't like the concierge or someone state that Crew actually owns this place?
They say he's his favorite customer. Their favorite customer.
Yeah, fair enough.
Just because, I mean, let's be real here. It's fucking Crew. The dude's about as loaded as he is.
To also be fair, I would also find that hard to believe because they'd say, he's our favorite customer. I'm like, how does he get in the building?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean...
These doorways are clearly standard size.
I mean, look at this freaking rug-like place I was just swatting bugs through. It looks like this could very well be Crew's bed.
It's like... See, the thing is, it's a trade secret, as in, he paid us not to reveal the, details of how we fit him into the building.
Sid, bring me the butter, eh?
Alright, here's my bedroom. Okay, where's your bed? This is the bed. Wait, what?
Speaking of bedroom, I think this is Crew's bed.
Okay, that I can see.
I don't know. That doesn't. I imagine if he tries to sleep on that, the bed would just be stuck on his cush.
Oh, just like that, we already met our quota.
Oh, okay. Well, okay.
Oh,
handy to have that. Just, hey, I was gonna say handy to have that little update there. So to update for Doug, since Hype already saw the second game, most of it. Normally, these metalhead skull gems, as they are typically referred to, what they're used for is, in Jak 2 in particular, this was how you would unlock new abilities for Dark Jak to, have more health, more invulnerability, certain new screen nuke abilities.
Only missing 2 bugs.
I'm
sure that won't be a problem later on.
I'm sure we'll find something. But oh dear. But yeah, as James has shown off, it seems like it's a little less stringent upon your completion of the game to find all the bug gems. Just so long as again, it just encourages thorough cleanup.
Think of it kind of like collecting red coins.
Yeah, I was thinking of that.
Easy does it.
I'm sure there's like any other collectible that you could probably compare them to, but that's like the first thing that comes to my mind. Anyway.
Like the express exit for the Daxtonator.
Never say that. Just get down the pipe.
Well, he said that like a couple of earlier in the game when he first got to the building.
I don't like it.
I mean,
ow! Oh, jeez! Oh, jeez!
That's what you get, you little shit.
Man!
Can't get any worse than that.
Just hits like 30 things in a row.
Oh, nice.
Not as funny as ramming into stuff in Battletoads, but that's just me.
That was funny, I'll agree.
That's because in Battletoads are just so sudden and quick.
It's just bam, you're gone. Okay, so
not even just that, but the fucking faces the Toads make on their mugshot when you splat on the wall. My favorite is still a Forever Rashes, just because it looks like he's about to let out the loudest fucking snore.
Whoop.
Oh yeah, So I decided to look into the composer of this game because I am enjoying what I'm hearing. So
it's definitely not Joss Mansell because
No.
it definitely doesn't sound like that's trademark urbanism he's usually known for.
Right. No. So this is...
Okay, maybe not urbanism, more so like tribal? Not tribal, it's just... the Crash Bandicoot-isms.
No, I get that. So it's done by a oh,
Exceeded
hang
my
on.
expectations.
Yay!
Payment received in full, and I'll be phoning your employer immediately. Now off you go.
Should I tell him about the other 2 bugs I missed?
Go.
What he won't know won't hurt him.
Besides, means more business.
Anyway, so it is a Mr. Jamie Scott who let's see, he was the sound designer on Myst 3 Exile, one of my favorite of the franchise. Nice. He helped with the audio mixing of the PS3 of the PlayStation 2 Jack Daxter trilogy collection.
Okay.
Let's see if I can find other things that he's straight up just. Let's see if I can find things that he's straight up done compositions for. Oh, nuts! I'm not finding anything like. I'm not finding like composition stuff. Apparently, he was the sound effects editor on Thor: Love and Thunder. So he is he is very much still active in the industry.
Oh, that's good to hear. I guess.
He's still around, yeah.
Since sound designer. I want to find one where he's like.
Is there anything here I need to do? I think that might be the way out.
Let's see, he worked on that project. Okay, so I mean, okay, looks like it looks like he's typically more so a sound designer, unless that also includes. No, okay, here we go. He was a sound composer for a 2014 video called The Key. Can't say I've heard of it. Sorry to say. Oh, that's right, the construction side. Yep, here we go.
Yep. As far as actually, that's another thing about this game. It usually doesn't like waste your time in telling you like where you should go. Like. At that point in time. Like, once you're done with one level, it'll tell you to go straight to another level, lickety-split.
Which I'm okay with that. Saves time of having to go back and forth to every... Oh, nice.
But I'm just saying, though, a little R&R after a hard day's work wouldn't be asking for much.
Oh, in Haven City, you'd be lucky to. Well...
Yeah. I mean, especially Haven City, considering this is a town that's still under the dictatorship of Clancy Brown.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mr. Krabs never was the same after he lost his $3 millionth. I don't want to imagine him doing that, Hype. That didn't sound right. I don't know if that's okay with me.
It sounded a lot more... I mean, that didn't even sound like... It sounded more like fucking deranged Popeye than Mr. Krabs.
Well,
Like
they both do have like a similar kind of laugh. Like I know his mom definitely laughs like that.
That is true. I just remember the classic, like from the freaking the making of documentary thing from the season 1 DVD where he was just talking about how like literally the way they created the the way they created the can you not double jump off of that?
Yeah, it looks like it.
Oh darn. Yeah, basically they cleared for his laugh. The way they told him to do it in the booth was basically have a pirate laugh, the arr, 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 but then just do it faster and faster and faster and faster until it came out like that. And that's how you got
I wonder if at some point he just realized, wait, this is just a Popeye laugh.
No, it's nothing like a Popeye laugh. Do the line. Is it really said no?
It's like, wait a minute. Popeye stole my laugh. I ought to sue.
Clancy Brown, why
he would be the type to claim ownership of that laugh.
But the way that I just said that. Okay, sorry, Lil Yan. Anyway, sorry, it's been a long day. But no, just the way that he said that, just he stole my laugh. I mean, like, now I just imagine them going like, Clancy, why are you talking like that? You're not Mr. Krabs, Clancy.
Who's Clancy?
Oh, oh! Get out!
And you're too scruffy to be a creeper. So, what's your game? Speak up before these barrels become both ends of the conversation. Who are you?
I could ask you the same. Sweet cheeks.
So, Hype may recognize her.
Yeah, Susan Eisenberg.
You're one of those lame exterminators who think they can still clean up the city. I've got news for you. Those new metal bugs are
on your tier list. How good of a Wonder Woman would you consider her?
She's definitely one of my favorites. I never really thought of like an exact tier list, but I do like her. And to magnify what Logan's talking about, yes, this is the Wonder Woman from the Bruce Timm animated universe.
Think you can handle it?
And also,
I can definitely hear it.
Oh, and
100% more British.
And she also then, wow, boy.
Watch where you spray that thing, cowboy.
And if anyone curious, she did also. She is also a Jack veteran, being the voice of Ashlyn from 2 and 3.
Right.
That makes sense. Which, I mean, for all intents and purposes, this is pretty much just this game's answer to Ashlyn, but with 50% less actual substance to her.
Aw, nuts. So I guess, what would you say about the writing of Daxter?
It's not bad. I definitely think at worst, like, it feels a little it feels lacking more so than anything. Like, whatever, like, honestly, that's probably one thing I'll say to this game compared to, like, the actual Jack games, that there's not a lot of dialogue to it.
Well,
especially when you're going from level to level, it definitely feels like you're going from level to level. And not really, like, Daxter going through his own personal journey to, make ends meet while also at one day remembering he has to still save his best friend.
Yeah, like, I just love, like, I don't know if it gets addressed later, but I love how, like, throughout this entire thing, like, up to now, there's never been a point where Daxter's like,
oh, that's right, Jack! What am I doing?
Just throws everything down and runs.
Are you gonna hop on or what? Sorry, babe, just had to collect a couple more, orbs.
So that's why you're heavier. Well, as we move him further along...
Hey, I take offense to that.
Easy does it.
Whoa, jeez.
I mean, don't you know that muscle weighs more than fat?
Yeah.
I've just seen a really weird tweet for today.
What's that?
What's that?
I think it was their... Oh, nice. I think it was their attempt to try and do it... Well, not attempt, because it made me... You got a chuckle out of me just then. Their little kind of a shitpost joke where it was that moment when your uncle finally gets to the barbecue and his leitmotif starts playing. It's like, oh, shit. It's the uncle theme. Immediately the first... I'll say immediately the first thing to come to mind is Groos's theme. or the pirate theme.
I'm not gonna be surprised if I have that kind of theme when I grow up more. Because Jesus,
it'd be like aggressive bagpipes.
Yeah, aggressive bagpipes because I am an uncle, so yeah, that I'm going to expect that someone in my life.
Okay, careful.
I call this the Uncle Douglas.
This is the time.
No, it's Uncle Deadpool.
Oh, Uncle Deadpool. Also now,
but you can't do a lisp with Deadpool.
See, now all I'm thinking about of like grown-up svelte Doug is him basically doing the Dr. Livesey walk everywhere he goes. Just with such proud stance, like that one dude I saw who did that one convention a long ago. Anyway, careful. But this is a good enough time, does Eddie, to say, since we got super close just then, how generous are the checkpoints of this game?
Not as bad as Jack 2's, if that means anything.
Good, because Jack 2 is usually very brutal. It was like, it was literally in Jack 2 sometimes, it was literally like, hey, we expect you to complete the entire mission, and if you mess up, do the mission over.
Yeah, they got pretty bad. I will definitely say, to Daxter's detriment, there are times, not often, but there can be times where the checkpoints can be about as stingy.
Well, then, I guess in that case, how difficult would you say then the combat range is to be?
Usually it's not too bad.
Okay.
I'd say there are sometimes they can be a little stingy with the health, but not too often. And also should be said, the bug spray that we currently have does run on green eco, which in and of itself, replenishes aren't too infrequent, but there can be times where you obviously don't get too cocky with it.
Okay. Right. Nice. Another one though. Nice.
But the green eco spray is pretty much there to stun bugs that are normally a little too slippery for just your measly electric swatter.
Right. Okay. Is there any way to upgrade it and make it actually do damage, or is it just a stun tool?
As a matter of fact, there is, but that'll be an upgrade for later.
Okay. Easy does.
And not even just that. The spray isn't just there as a means to stun or even attack bugs like later down the road.
Oh, I remember now. Yeah, I remember about that.
Yeah, it'll easily become the most important tool Daxter has in his arsenal.
Nice. There's all our
collected all those gems.
Yay! This place has more or less been completely exterminated.
Good.
Of bugs.
bugs. There's going to be all sorts of other little goodies.
We can't promise the other things that should be exterminated because that's a little that involves discussions that we don't know we're prepared to deal with.
Maybe when you're older.
Yeah, the Baron will have our hide if we take this damage too far.
What are you doing?
I saw a precursor orb up there. I had to.
That was a little. That one was a little bit out of the camera for me.
A little bit, and I mean, unfortunately, we are working with the PSP here, so a lack of a right stick does kind of hurt sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay, I can hold it back no longer.
Hold what back?
It's been about.
You're not gonna
45...
fart, are you?
No. It's been 40. I love how you said that with such concern. Like, well, can we discuss this? No, it's been 45 minutes. It has to be said. Okay.
45 minutes.
I think since I last talked about it, I think the Klonoa Wii makes Wahoo is better than Chris Pratt's Wahoo. There, I said it.
It all goes back to freaking crispy rat.
I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm like this.
I was about to say, like, well, why even involve Klonoa? Like, we didn't even talk about him.
No, but because I'm thinking, because I was just like, I was just idly minding my business, reading my book, and I was just thinking out loud that, like, you know what? Like, because I did my best to try and imitate the Wahoo he used in that trailer, and
Wahoo.
But then I realized, I'm actually getting a little closer to the Wahoo as it sounds in Klonoa the Wii make, and then I realized, no, if you took that Wahoo from like the title screen, the Wahoo, and put that in, that would sound more enthusiastic than crispy. Anyway.
Yeah, really. Anyway. But anyway, time to head on back to the shop, the bug shop, which or the extermination shop, which thankfully was just right next door to the exit.
Thank goodness.
Pay no mind to that precursor orb I blatantly missed.
Well, that was a lot out there. Okay, what you got for us?
3 more infestations you failed on this week. Keep it up, and this business will be mine.
Sorry, Phil.
So, what does this make? Number 5 or 6 of all the characters that Phil Lamar voices in this franchise?
Especially ones that are evil.
Itchy Drawers the Third.
Itchy Drawers.
Itchy
Drawers. Itchy Drawers.
Make this place what it is.
Yes, I'm sure he's very proud. I promise you, Osmo, I will eventually run you out of town. You'll be bug bait soon enough.
Okay.
Charming. Just the way he toddles along.
We're in trouble, Daxter. If we don't start completing jobs soon, I'll lose the business.
Whoa.
Bug alert.
Why did you have the bug alert?
Something big. To the hangar.
Oh,
this sounds serious.
The bug alert.
What does that mean?
You figure it out, genius.
What the hell?
Bets?
All right. You got a hot daughter, huh?
In a matter of speaking.
I was about to say, that is very presumptuous.
Yeah, don't blame Daxter. He's still youngish.
Something all right.
He's still
You're telling me this thing still flies?
Sure.
Kind of think that, yeah, like, I think he's got to still be like a mid to late teen by this point.
Yeah, like, because I'm trying to remember if they ever did establish like an age for either Jack or Daxter in the series.
Jack, yes. Daxter, I don't know.
I don't know what I'd do if something ever happened to old Betsy. Fire her up.
Something's gonna happen to old Betsy, isn't it?
Well, keep watching. You might be in for a treat.
I'm sure we'll be fine.
We've handled worse with these old rust buckets.
Whoa. Okay. Right.
Okay.
Warp gates. Right. So this, I assume, is just to be the big. Oh, hey, green eco vents. So I assume this is just supposed to be the peripheral to the A-grav zoomers that we're used to.
Yeah, pretty much.
Alrighty.
There's also one that you'll also get to ride in the hub world itself for faster travel. Considering, well, let's be real here, we're Daxter.
Yeah.
Whoops. Sorry about that. Wrong button. For those wondering, I'm recording this off the PPS's PP like I have before.
But he is technically doing it on somewhat official hardware. He's doing it on the Steam thingy.
Actually, no. I'm just recording this off of PPS's PP.
Okay.
I didn't break up the Steam Deck for this.
Fair enough. Although I assume Steam Deck can probably run this easily as well.
It can. I was debating recording this off as the Steam Deck as well, but I have noticed on there the emulator the audio does get somewhat crackly here and there. Not to like a super obnoxious degree, but still.
Okay.
One of those things where if I have the better option, I'll just go ahead and take it.
There is a game we want to cover with the Steam Deck at some point, but that'll be a little later with James and I.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's actually the one that we've alluded to, like, almost numerous times throughout this whole playthrough, this whole time we've been doing this channel, but it's coming to a point where we gotta follow up on it sooner or later.
The other game that we've alluded to and probably need to get around to doing at some point is It Takes Two.
That too.
I keep reminding myself because like I want to. Doug, have you ever given any interest into any of those like co-op story games? Fair.
I mean, honestly, I can just imagine what it'd be like if both you and Sam actually did try It Takes Two at some point.
Or A Way Out. Go on about
That
your
too.
chicken and business.
That'll be something.
Honestly, actually, come to think of it, Duck, have you ever seen our A Way Out playthrough?
I don't think I have.
We'll have to find. There is some highlights.
Oh, you should have seen what these chuckle nuts were doing for that
Well,
game.
it was
Was
definitely a
one
game
clip
that-
with a ladder?
Yes, that
Yes.
was me with the Ladder King and hype with the whole...
Yeah. I'm sorry, you got something to say to the ladder?
Okay, yeah,
disrespect, buddy.
I remember Steve showing that clip off. I definitely remember that.
Yeah, because like I would still. Well,
like,
I would still argue that like as much as love Matt's goading the whole like suck my D thing, I feel like the Ladder King is probably the funniest thing we've ever done for the channel.
it was the part that definitely broke us both because it was like the perfect like on Hype's view on that camera when I just kind of walk in and I'm just carrying such imposing. Hey, look. Oh
boy.
Crash into the purple bugs to kill them, or the big plant is going to die.
Will do, old man. Yeah!
One.
You know, that wasn't quite as glamorous as I was.
Yeah, I was expecting like an explosion or like knocking the thing out like with Ragdoll, but they're kind of like pebbles. None. Okay, look, the big plant's alive. Yay.
However, the job's not quite done yet.
The big boy.
The Queen, Daxter. Don't let her escape.
Now that looks like an honorary metalhead.
Yes, it does. So how do we stop it?
Just do what comes naturally. Ram into the bitch.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a lot easier than I thought. Okay, I didn't know we could reach it. But
Never thought I got this far.
Do be warned though that the queen does fly pretty fast, so sometimes you're gonna have to, cut some corners.
just a little bit. Oh,
Like so.
nice. And now we know where our precursor orb is on our way back. But yeah, no, the way out was interesting just because like it was definitely a genre and art style of game that like I know at least like Hype is not like
Gotcha.
Like normally we wouldn't cover games like that, but just something about that co-op was very fun. Whoosh.
Yeah. And we did it that way specifically because Logan and I already did a playthrough beforehand, and we thought, actually, that might not have been for the best, considering that's the kind of game where the absolute best experience is blind.
Right, just keep reacting to it. That's why, up until this point, even though it's won awards, I have not yet played It Takes Two because I plan to do it first for the channel.
Right, same here. Even though, especially now when it has a Switch port.
That is true, and does it have online capabilities?
It should.
Okay, because that is also true. We could do it that way.
Anyway, I do believe we did ourselves a job well done, so I'd say it's time for some little R&R back at the extermination shop. What say you, Daxter?
Ow.
Whee!
Oh! That can come off, right?
Oh boy.
I was not wrong on that.
Daxter, is that you? What was that noise?
Oh, crud.
Hide everything.
I'm so dead.
Put something.
Yeah, come on. How do you fix this? How do you fix this thing?
Put the cloth on it.
Welcome back, my boy. Good. You've already covered old Betsy up for me. At her age, that old duster needs all the tender, loving care she can get.
Tender care.
She needs a wash.
No, she's fine.
Don't got it. Lift it up.
Scratch. No, siree. Everything's still here, more or less. I'll pick up the pieces later. I mean, later.
Oh, are you sure? That's
Yes.
thought for the few.
Oh, jeez.
That was a close.
Do we get to ride that thing later, or is that the only time we do it?
There will be a point we get to write it again later.
Thank goodness
Okay.
we can fix it. Or someone knows how to fix it.
Well, I fucked up.
I believe I'm due for a little rest after my fucking up.
Yep. So, by using precursor orbs as currency, we can now take a nap.
Well, don't worry. The first one's technically free.
and we can show off his dreams.
I'm pretty sure that they still have running theaters in Haven City.
Oh my god.
His dreams are weird, Doug.
His dreams are movies.
Damn, I'm high as fuck.
And he just, for whatever reason, likes to dream about himself fighting Gaul over and over and over again.
I mean, this at least makes sense, because this is just after Jack 1, where the only opposing force he came to know was Gaul and his lurker kind. Oops.
Ow, oh, jeez.
Now, why exactly he chose to assume it as a movie reference, your guess is as good as mine.
Because that was a designer thing, not so much the game lore thing.
It was all the hip new trend to put things into, put references in all your wacky, like, comedy games.
And mainly it's funny because I think this is like the very first bit of, one of, if not the first bit of footage I've seen of this game back when IGN was covering it.
I don't know. Still a more fun time to play than Asterix and Obelix XXL2.
Yeah. It's not quite as elongated, if that means anything.
Well, I mean, like, XXL2 is still... there's something really fun to it, absolutely. I just think that it's still... I just feel like the big reason why you would play that game is just to gawk at all the wacky references they do, and after that, it kind of just becomes a bog standard beat 'em up.
Yeah.
Easy does it.
Maybe one day they'll be able to make a brawler again that's within similar caliber to the Konami beat 'em up.
One day.
I mean, they kind of did with that 2D animated one.
Oh,
which I'll give them kudos for that, but it could be better.
And that is still on my to-do list for us to record as well, just because I think there's a lot of fun put into that, and of course give us an excuse. Oh, we did it.
And thus we ascend to godhood.
That's right, I can fly. Oh wait, say the line. Say the line.
I know kung fu.
Yes. There you go.
So yeah, after doing a dream sequence, you'll either earn one of two things: a health extension or a brand new move, like this flip kick here, which is not really that useful, from what I can recall. But it does look flashy.
Does it give you more hang time in the air, or no?
Doesn't not look much like more. It. Not much more than usual.
Darn. All right, well, on to the next job. What have you got?
Speaking of which, what else you got for me, old man?
I just got a call from the bar, Daxter. Oh, some kind of mechanical problem. Oh, I know I don't need to give you directions. Oh, and my son left his scooter outside.
Oh, my son?
Go ahead and use it.
Yes, he does. And actually, believe it or not, we will be meeting up with him later.
All right. Oh, yeah, him.
Don't worry. He's a nice guy. Just a little well out of his element.
Far out. Just.
Logan pretty much called it out, but anyway.
Yeah, that's. He's the guy who knows of the one, the only, the legendary bat flip, Dad.
Yeah, pretty much. Also, speaking of familiar faces,
hey, Taryn.
She's really all things considered, she's really just there to be the smoking hot, mysterious femme fatale sort of thing, who's really not that much of a bad guy, and that's really as far as they really went with this character, because she's just here to give us the occasional upgrade.
Yeah, I mean, in that case, it makes sense. I mean, she was the one who gave us the gun, so she should understand how it works, and pressure boost.
But they don't do much more with her beyond that. Like, I figured maybe they were going to go deeper, like maybe she's working for a big bad, or maybe she's like a secret member of Otto's gig. But otherwise, no, she's just there.
Fair enough, but it looks like it just gave you a platforming boost.
Yep, now we have we have ourselves a hovering mechanic.
Woo! Now, does that...
a little makeshift, but it still works all the same.
Now, does cut... and I was about to say, yeah, so it does look like hovering also consumes ammo, which actually is a pretty unique idea for the weapon use. Oh.
I'd actually be glad to see you. Anyway, I've lost pressure at the tab.
It's also Susan. But anyway, that's actually a neat enough little, like,
I know you don't need any more motivation
interaction between the weapons and the platforming. I'm surprised not even Jak 2 or 3 really did all that often, was having your weapons actually lead into platforming.
I feel like that would be really fun from a gameplay standpoint, but the first thing that comes to mind when I think of that is, you know how sometimes in Looney Tunes, like Yosemite Sam will propel himself upwards by shooting down at the ground? I just imagine Jak doing that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's funny you bring that up, because I know Jak and Daxter doesn't do it, but to some degree K-Story does.
Oh yeah, no, Cave Story does have a function like that, especially when you shoot down.
I think it's only with the machine gun though.
I think. Yeah. Oh, wait. Yeah, I believe you're right. Because I don't think the flamethrower does. No, that doesn't do that. Then of course, the other one, the other famous example I can think of is frickin' there was this old mobile game I used to play a lot called Jetpack Joyride.
Oh, that game.
The jetpack, yeah, I had a lot of fun with that game. But the jetpack in that game was literally 2 miniguns strapped to each other, so you're flying with bullets. There's a precursor back there.
Yep, and there's also another vial here. Again, that's just for the bug combat minigame.
Ah, well.
I kind of. What was I say? I have a question for Douglas.
Wah.
So when it comes to like, I'll just call them like the Sony originals. You know, whether it be stuff like Jak and Daxter or the other like original stuff like Ratchet, Sly, and all of that. Do you have any particular favorites out of all of Sony's like original stuff?
Oh yeah.
That's a hard one, actually, now that I think about it.
Okay.
Let's see.
Well, it doesn't have to be like a singular favorite, just like any that you enjoy.
Or just like ones that you played the most, or just have had like, I guess, the most exposure or most enjoyment playing, that kind of stuff like that.
Well, it's just more to the platform and stuff, like, well, again, Jak and Daxter, Ratchet and Clank, and Sly. That's mainly my go-to with those, so yeah, I've played those games.
Alrighty.
I mean, it's pretty much mine too, and to a certain extent, even though it's not among the same trifecta, Apescape.
True. For me, it was... Actually, I guess that's pretty much the same for me as well, yeah. How about you, Hype?
Honestly, in a similar sense,
Actually, wait,
like...
what am I doing?
Oh.
Burn him!
Wow! Burn, baby, burn!
Oh, you're still alive.
But yeah, to answer that inquiry, I know out of the 3 big boys of the PS2 era, I think Sly would probably be my favorite, although I really do love a lot of Ratchet, even though I haven't played as much of it compared to Sly. Jak, out of the 3 specifically, Jak's probably my least favorite, but there is still a bunch of it that I do enjoy. Let me see, outside of that, I do like Ape Escape, even though I've only really had any experience with the first game. Trying to think, like... Little Big Planet would also count as well, because I played a bit of the first game for that as well.
That's fair.
I love Little Big Planet.
Oh yeah, I've been definitely interested in trying out for the channel. Like, I'm trying to think, like... Okay, well, on one hand, I was thinking of Little Big Planet 2, because I think that's a fun enough... I think that's definitely a fantastic sequel over the first one, but... Or even the 3. I think 2 added a lot to the table, and... Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, 2 had a lot on this table.
I think if I'm not... Yeah. And in fact, I think 2 had a lot of like really crazy like DLC that you can get as well. Like that had like Sonic skins, Marvel and DC skins. Okay, maybe not Marvel, but definitely DC.
Right. But then the other thing I was thinking of in order to like start uncovering the franchise is honestly because Sony themselves just made it easier on James and I covering Sackboy's Big Adventures. Big Adventure. Jeez, my
Adventures. I wouldn't mind playing that with you guys.
Oh yeah, and again, now that it's on PC, it means A, I can do Parsec, and
nice.
B, because ultimately, like, it is just... I mean, okay, ultimately it is just Sackboy does Mario 3D World. That's about kind of it.
Yep.
But it's...
And I'll still say for what it's worth, it looks prettier, but I do think Mario 3D World still edges it out in the gameplay department.
I think that's fair.
I can agree.
But it's also so fun, and its villain is so fun.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, like, it still blows my mind the fact that they were able to port that and Insomniac Spider-Man for the PC. Like, it really makes me curious as to, like, if it's only just going to be those 2 games, or if they have, like, plans to port other games to the console. Like, do you think they'll be bold enough to, like, put, like, Ratchet Rift Apart on PC?
Ooh.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past them.
I'm not against...
Heck, if I can be perfectly honest, one other game they could probably do, which I think we brought up once or twice, the Medieval remake.
Medieval remake would be nice on PC.
It's also kind of funny because what they did recently is added Miles Morales' PC.
Yes, I know. Right. Yeah, I do believe they said that. I forgot. Have they confirmed if they're going to do God of War on PC or not yet?
Well, they've already done God of War. They haven't done Ragnarok yet.
Which makes sense because they want to. You know, they still got. That's the thing is that hey, they still got to promote the console somehow.
Right, they still have like the exclusivity thing. You know, that's part of why for the longest time the Instinct trilogy was just for the. Oh boy,
nice.
I didn't need to do it that way, and I wasted so much eco doing that, but I don't care.
But I mean, considering that they want you to be using this boost effort, like literally in that room alone, you could fill back up to full, probably.
Not just that, but there's some eco here too.
So how plentiful is the ammo like involved in this?
Usually they give you just enough to see you through.
Okay.
Assuming you're not being again too reckless with it. Although, once we start getting some of the other spray upgrades, it definitely goes to show how generous they can be with it.
Fair enough.
Especially when it gets to a point where, by that point, you don't even need the electric swatter for much, if anything.
Oh, well, that'll be good because
Good thing the Echo thing keeps respawning.
Agreed.
Well, kind of has to, considering that's your main fuel.
But yeah, in terms of I guess beyond that, it was funny that we brought up just other franchises from this generation in particular because on our list is still to cover the last noteworthy Sly Cooper game, Sly 4, which is all still ready to go.
Bentley's Hack Pack?
Yo, I loved it.
I would love. It's like, yeah, that's fair. It's gonna happen. If not you, then Icky. Someone is gonna call it that, and I'm not even against
I'm calling
it. From what I played of it, it's not that bad. It's just.
Oh yeah, no, it's still a solid game. It's just the writing can be stupid at points.
Yeah.
And sometimes they can get a little too gratuitous with their gimmicks.
Honestly,
go ahead.
I just think it's really funny. I'm not saying I disagree with you guys, nor do you have a right to
Ooh.
Oh boy.
Okay, Max. Really, I think you kind of. Max. I think you're a little melodramatic there, buddy. Oh, actually.
Wow.
You died and your body flew into the checkpoint for the next area.
Talk to you later, mate.
Well, the sequence breaking.
We lost no progress. Anyway.
Did I say this? The checkpoint system was not that generous. It's incredibly generous.
Thank gosh.
Anyway, like I was saying, like I said, I'm not saying you guys don't have a right to feel this way about Sly 4, and to an extent, I agree. There is a part of me that does find it a little bit weird whenever people look at Sly 4 and talk about how, oh, the writing is so stupid, or the gimmicks are so stupid and whatnot. When you really look back and think about it, it's not not the entirety, mind you, but it's not like there are chunks of the original trilogy that were that much better about it. I would argue that, as a collective whole, that maybe the first Sly game, I'd argue, is probably just about as juvenile as Sly 4.
It's fairly silly. 2 definitely up the seriousness of the stage.
2 was where the seriousness started.
Then 3...
Well, you say seriousness, I'd say some of the more adult themes.
Right. Then the third one kind of tried to go for a slightly, a better blend of the two. For me, what I find to be the gravest sin, the gravest sin of Sly Tit is that it makes first of all, the overworld becomes completely pointless. Utterly pointless. Literally, it kind of falls into the same trap that Sly 3 did, where, as you saw with how I tried to cover Sly 2, I would still, dedicate typically an entire part just to exploring the overworld so I could try and find as many of the clue bottles as I could. But, okay. But, I mean, afterwards, then you just do the missions as normal. Sly 4 does bring back those, those clue bottles, but otherwise, that's the other thing, is that there's actually not a whole lot of missions that really take advantage of the overworld. It's just more linear, segmented levels, which to me kind of makes me wonder if the open world was really all that necessary. But again, different developers and stuff. What are you gonna do?
Yeah,
it happens. But yeah, no, it definitely does feel like they could have used a little more time to actually have those missions on the overworld as opposed to making new levels dedicated to them, which means much more elongated load times.
Also different writers, so they wouldn't do Penelope like that.
I was about to say, as far as the overworlds go, you mentioned bringing back the clue balls. Didn't they also bring back the timed valuables that you can steal from 2 as well?
Yes, they did. And it's one of those cases where they kind of forgot to actually include a reason as to why they disappear. They just do.
Yeah, no, there's no bomb on them, and nice. But I'm gonna be honest with you right now. I beat the game. going for 100% completion and buying every single gadget and stuff was not on my priority list. For me, because the treasures was to me there was no point to collecting all the treasures. The only treasures I really did want to make an effort to get again were the ones that required the clue bottles, because those ones are for each one of those ones you collect more than the other treasures. For every one of those you collect, you also get an upgrade, as you typically do.
Are any of the ones that you get happen to be the ones that are like references? Because I know that Sly 4 does like have a handful of like reference treasures. Like I think one of them has like an Ottstal statue.
That one I don't believe I got, but I did find one that made a reference to Clockwork.
Oh yeah, that one.
And of course, if anyone who's curious, I did go out of my way to find each and every Clockwork reference that I could find, because I do actually like the model they use for him in that game. The hell is this?
So, with that said, we've reached our pressure valve thingy, which is another classic case where Sony insisted that the developers make the most out of their D-pad and buttons.
Oh, this actually reminds me a bit of that Whack-A-Mole game from Jak 2.
I think it's more or less the same thing. Obviously, you want to make sure that the valves don't overheat. On that note, also don't press the wrong button, otherwise you get a whole bunch of hot steam in your face.
Oh boy.
He does it. The other thing I was going to say in terms of revisiting that generation of games is, honestly, I think enough time has passed. I wanted to see if I can have James go into Ratchet Deadlocked with me.
Oh.
I mean, I'm still up for it. It's just... honestly, it just depends on when we really feel like it.
I know.
Right. Like, it's really funny thinking back on where it's like, we technically did go through the entire game, and, you know, it ran fairly well given, like, the methods of recording, but I recognize that there was kind of a valid reason why we had to scrap it.
Well, there's a valid reason, but that reason also factors into why I think it may actually even be easier next time, because that reason did also have slightly poorer connection, like for instance, like when James and I were doing Pikmin 3 Deluxe. I don't recall the same amount of hiccups or problems that befell the reason why we scrapped that as often as it did with James. Basically, I feel like it could be a smoother time.
That's fair.
Yeah, it probably would be. So yeah, I mean, somewhere down the road, we'll definitely consider doing that again. It's just also a matter that I don't want to keep on holding it back from having us do the
Tools of Destruction
future trilogy.
Which is fair.
Right.
I have that still on standby as well.
Anyway.
There was a worker in here a minute ago from the transit system down the street. Said there were some bugs chewing through electrical wires. Be careful, though. He looked like he needed a drink.
Did you give him one?
You know what?
She is the bartender, so I imagine so.
You know what these cutscenes are reminding me of?
What's that?
Just because they're silent and it's just a zoom in, they kind of feel like Zelda CDI cutscenes a bit to me.
Sorry, honey, I can't give credit. Why don't you come back when you're a bit richer?
Daxter, that electrical worker said that there's bugs chewing up all them wires. Please, come on, help him. Have a heart. Have a heart. All right, next level. Let's do it.
Yeah, don't give me yours. I mean, you need that to breathe, don't you?
Great! I'll grab my stuff.
You've killed me, Daxter.
Good.
Well, we're all in agreement.
Will be the death of Haven City.
I love that dude. Oh, that's another reason why I can't wait to get the Steam Deck to be able to play that game on the go. Yes, just what Gabe Newell intended. Yes, he does it.
Thank you, Proton.
I'm actually going to be very, very sad if it's like Sonic Boom or freaking Cube Ninja 3D all over again, where right at the moment where I adopt it and be like, hey, I want to try this out, that's the minute when they finally like, hey, let's can and let's actually put rules like preventing people from using this for emulation anymore, because like that still looks like the big reason why I would love to get a Steam Deck would be to be able to play games that are not even available on the Switch service right now on the go.
Yeah. Like, you know, Symphony of the Night, or...
I have been really just in this weird hankering to play Mario RPG.
That too. I mean, I'm just wondering if that game's ever going to get put on the service, like the SNES service at this point.
Actually, wait a minute. You say Symphony of the Night, like, that is still technically on other consoles, isn't it?
Yes.
It is. Well, okay, so as far as like current consoles are concerned, I think you can only really play it on PS4 or 5 via the Requiem collection.
Yes.
I think you could technically play it on Series S and X via the backwards compatibility feature, from like harkens all the way back to the 360 era.
Mm-hmm.
The Switch is kind of shit out of luck on that, though, because in recent history, the only other reports we got of Symphony of the Night were on, again, via the Requiem collection and the iOS port.
Well, I was about to say, 'cause,
And
go ahead.
I was about to say, yeah, the Requiem collection wasn't released on Switch, wasn't it?
Nope, it was a Sony exclusive.
So dumb, because I think that the Requiem collection would run perfectly fine on the Switch.
I totally think it can too, but I think it's primarily a matter that I think it's because Requiem, for all intents and purposes, is pretty much just a what's the word? Slightly abridged Dracula X Chronicles.
Yeah.
Pretty much has everything but the actual like Rondo of Blood remake that version provided.
Right.
So technically, you're paying more for less. Well, okay, maybe not more for less. More like a little less for less.
I mean, it wouldn't be Konami if otherwise.
Well, I'm about to say, meanwhile, Konami's like, listen, we gave you all those songs in Smash Brothers. That's enough.
We put in the songs, we put in Alucard as an assist trophy, we gave you 2 Belmonts to play as. What more do you want from us?
We gave you everything!
Why can't you ever think of our needs?
Then I'm just like, so is the Netflix show canon? Get out. Did you hear about that, actually, that there was like this big interview, and I think Hype was the one who was sharing it here, but the fact that there was this grand like interview discussing whether or not the IDW comics are now officially canon with Sonic Frontiers now confirming all that. They actually interviewed the people behind it, and they were like, listen, like I feel like everything could be there. I feel like everything could be like considered and included, but I then agree with you, James, in that so long as they don't
contradict anything.
Well, yeah.
Don't contradict, and don't make anything that you primarily see in the comics completely mandatory to the games. Because then you suffer a Kingdom Hearts problem of shuffling down your lore a little too thickly.
Well, that's I mean,
or too broadly.
Well, I was gonna say, like, despite the fact that I am looking forward to covering that game, I would argue that is one sin that Sonic Frontiers commits, is that it is not a game for... It is, as far as its plot, and especially the remarks and, little fun things that they mention aside, it is not a game for Sonic newbies. Like, this game expects you to have some experience with all those other games.
I'd at least say you should have experience with the classic trilogy and so forth. Maybe definitely Adventure 1. Beyond that, I'd say it's not too demanding.
Okay.
Like, sure, they'll name drop here and there, but that's pretty much just all it is. It's just name dropping. Right. It's not important in the grand scheme of things.
Okay. Yeah, and let's be honest here. Like, it goes without saying that the entire focus of Frontiers, and I can't even like joke about it. They even outright said it was their intention when they were talking about one of the songs in the game. The entire focus of Frontiers was basically just like, fans, please forgive us.
Please forgive us.
I can't do a Roger Rabbit impression right now. I don't want to shake these headphones off my head. But there was there's just certain sounds I cannot do. Rolling my R's, doing the I need to like shake my head to like actually like flap these gums and these cheeks like they used to. Anywho, the other thing was that another actually interesting thing that happened earlier this morning, I want to say, was, or maybe it was last night, but regardless, time zones be damned. Someone in Japanese was messaging.
Whoa! What the?
I forgot those words.
You smacked your face with that.
Yeah, because I was about to say it didn't
energy.
look like you were that low in health.
It was you.
Just instant. Whoa, Daxter, calm down. Don't go shaking to me now, boy. So what happened was.
Now's not the time to get the extermination jitters.
So what happened was somebody in Japanese was tweeting. I had to translate on Twitter. Someone tweeted out, one of the lead game designers, basically it's saying like, hey, this is such an incredible, this is a very fun game, thank you guys again so much, but one idea I would always love to see done with this is, and they linked footage of the original Sonic 1 or Sonic 2 or whatever, footage of Sonic doing like, ball physics, like running fast, and immediately crouching into a ball to keep your momentum while spin dashing or rolling forward, saying like, I know this isn't quite how it works in Frontiers, but I think this would be so fun to do in those environments. To which the guy actually then replied back to her saying, yeah, you know what? I think that is like actually saying you're right. That is not actually functioning as it. That is not how it functions as of yet in the open zone thing. But we would love to find a way to implement that moving forward.
Which, you know, well, first off, I'm actually surprised they didn't think about that with any other Sonic game beforehand. And secondly, definitely go for it.
Yeah, I'm guessing that the only reason they didn't think about that with any Sonic game up to this point is that, like, from a design standpoint, it would probably clash with the type of games that they were making. Like, would you say that you'd have an easier time seeing that done in, like, say, Unleashed than you would at Frontiers?
Honestly, raising the point, I don't think I could see it working in Unleashed either. Unleashed seems far
I guess when you put it that way, the boost formula stuff wouldn't work out as well, considering that those games are less about actual momentum and more so reaction time.
Right, that's where the boost thing
is. They kind of goofed up with forces and all that, so take that for what you will.
But yeah, no, like if they want to kind of, you know, as it is, have the boost be more on the side, like basically treat boost more like its own different version of the Lightspeed Dash, which, sure, we've had the Lightspeed Dash all this time, but we've never had a game just, like, completely center around it and nothing else. Like, if they wanted to do something where they just, you know, they downplay the boost a little bit more and really play up more the momentum and just, again, just be thinking on your feet in terms of, like, where to go and how to, like, just I feel like with Open Zone, it is at its best when it's like, you know, have Sonic be super fun to control and have the mobility be, you know, the real hook of the gameplay in of itself. That's why Insomniac Spider-Man was so much fun. It's because it's a lot of fun to swing as Spider-Man in that game. What are you doing?
I noticed there was a whole string of precursor orbs on the other.
Oops.
Mind that first step.
Good thing there's no live system.
I'll talk to you later, Mick. I gotta go.
Anyone have a fried Otzel?
Actually, wait, never mind.
I mean, that's about it. I mean, Doug, hi. What did you guys think? And James, because he also played that too. Well, I mean, what did you guys think of controlling Sonic in Frontiers?
It was definitely something. It was definitely an experience. I'll tell you that much. And I do think it definitely got a lot better once you upgrade Sonic's speed fully.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
But
like, I had no problems with it for the most part. Like, honestly, like, the best way I can describe it, and I feel like it's just the best way I can describe Frontiers as a whole, as of now, what's up?
No, just all these precursor. Are you kidding me? What?
Oh.
Wait, how did I pass through that?
I don't know how I passed that. Ah, boy!
Oh, I figured these would be instant kill.
Oh, damn, I really...
Huh.
Well, I really am Jesus. Oh, never mind.
There we go.
Oh, there you go.
That was a
you know,
sensation.
Technically, I mean, seeing him just die or, like, just flat in the air, it's like, technically he is this world's Jesus.
Why not? Yeah, that is it. He is a precursor. Anyhow.
And we did the further, like, what I was talking about, so at the time of us recording this, I still haven't fully been Frontiers yet. Like, I had just gone to the third island, and yes, cool. I am aware of the horror stories people have with it. Hopefully I won't have as bad of a time with it. But that being said, the impression that I'm having with Frontiers so far, and I don't see it changing anytime soon, is that what would you say? Frontiers is probably the best writing the game has ever had, compared with the most okay gameplay the series has ever had.
I think that's...
Really? Even more so than Forces?
Well, first off, I don't mean okay in, like, a bad sense. Like, it's perfect. Like, I like it, I have fun with it, but I feel like compared to, like, a lot of other Sonic games, when you compare the highs and stuff like, say, Unleashed, Generations, or even some of the earlier games, like the adventure games and whatnot, I feel like Frontiers is fine, but I feel like what it's offering doesn't really feel that special compared to what you would get in any of the other Sonic games.
I suppose that's fair.
I understand what you're
I definitely think that there's a, I'll definitely agree that there's definitely a, what's the word? I think it has the potential to be the best the best type of gameplay Sonic's ever had, but it's still, unfortunately, what's the word I'm looking for? It definitely feels like it's still a little too trapped in that whole mentality of recent Sonic games where it's more so boost all the time.
Well, not just boost all the time. I feel like the big trap that some of these Sonic games has had. Look both ways before wanting to cross the street.
Oh,
can we grab this? Nice.
Okay, good.
Oh, jeez.
Nice.
Right by the edge.
Was it's the problem of like you kind of
actually, there's our getaway vehicle.
Legit a grab zoom as soon as his connection hooks back up.
Oh boy.
Hang on. There it is.
Oh.
So how does this control compare to the old Betsy?
Around the same. It's just now that we have to worry about an incoming train.
Oh boy.
Got rush through all the speed boosters. Otherwise, you will get run over.
Fair enough.
Like, how generous is it in a sense of, like, do you have to hit every single speed booster, or is it okay if you accidentally miss one or two?
You have to hit them all.
Okay. Noted. But yeah, no.
And you'll know the train's getting closer to you the closer the camera gets to Daxter.
Gotcha.
Oh my gosh! And the lights!
And the lights! Yeah, like that.
Okay. Hit the boost. Okay, I see. All right.
Quick, make a left.
Oh.
Whoops. Okay, you know what it is? I kept on holding on the ignition, which is the cross button.
It skipped the cutscene of him slamming into the wall.
It skipped the cutscene.
Just know that he slams into a wall, and we're okay now. Phew. It's okay.
No.
It's okay.
I don't think that's the way out, Jim.
Oh wait, we go back the way we came. Oh, this way.
There you go.
Fair enough.
Something stinks.
Worst case scenario, maybe we'll find that cutscene splice in there. I don't know, but so yeah, Sonic Frontiers. I feel. Oh.
Who shut the room?
You.
I think this egg sack here did.
Are we at our first act?
Damn.
Are we at the first act, like major boss?
Yes, we are.
Oh, well, all right then. Let's just do it. Okay, good. Okay, but yeah, basically, like I feel like the biggest problem with Frontiers is that it's not even just the fact that you have to boost all the time, but like one of the biggest traps that recent Sonic games have gone into is that like everything's wrestling control from you. Like if you hit a spring, bam, you're in an animation where you are going off that spring at a set speed, at a set angle. Same with boost pads, grind rails. So, and as Hype will probably notice in the third island, a lot of forced 2D sections. But
it's really funny because it's like,
oh, here we go.
I know that. Oh,
meet the Big Daddy.
Well, he's certainly
Maybe Big Mama in this case.
Wow. Oh, sorry.
And Daxter does not react to this whatsoever. Probably my other big problem with this game's overall direction.
Yeah, I mean,
it feels like there's more instances where Daxter can, comment on the situation, but he kind of doesn't.
Yeah, meanwhile, the massive spider in Jak 2 in that Tomb of Mara he was freaking out about.
Maybe there was an instance where the devs had that initially, but they thought, like, now let's take that out. I feel like this would annoy gamers a lot.
I don't know. But yeah, continue Hype about the Sonics.
But yeah, I was about to say, like, I hear that a lot with Frontiers, and I'm just gonna say, and I know for a fact that people are gonna think this is the stupidest opinion ever, I really don't have that big of a problem with 2D in the modern Sonic games.
I don't have a problem with it either.
I don't think it's a problem all the time, but it's definitely... Frontiers is definitely the case where it felt the most unfitting.
Because you're in an open world and there's no... Like, there's not even, like, glowy force fields or something that, like, tells you, oh, this is why Sonic would suddenly forget that he can move orthogonally in any direction. He just kind of decides.
I think for me it's just going to be an instance where it's like... again, I'll have to see for myself, but I feel like as long as the 2D segments themselves aren't, like, poorly designed in a sense of, like, as long as I feel like I can still have some increment of fun going through them, then I could care less if they were, like, 2D or 3D.
Again, you're honestly, keep that in mind once you get to the third island and, go through all that crap.
I'll wait and see.
Alright, here we go.
And whack right in the egg sack.
Fortunately, his gem only counts as a single gem still.
Still only counts as one.
Still only one.
You don't even get to pull it out, which is kind of stupid.
You can't whack it out?
Actually, can you?
No.
Just checking.
Damn, okay.
What the fuck?
Daxter is the last person I would ever think Daxter's the last person I would think of who would actually be like, you know what? A good job is its own reward. It's like, oh. Leave.
Oh, right.
Get out.
Whoops.
I was like, don't move.
I do that every fucking time.
I'm going to get crushed if you don't do something. That was just in case you're wondering why I sound like I got stopped in my tracks. That was why. Oh, okay. Yes.
What took you so long, Daxter? You didn't wreck the transit authorities, Zoomer, did you?
No.
No.
Nonsense. Actually, we did. We parked it right where we left it.
Power station. Head up there. I've got a distress call from the strip mine.
Another one? Wait, the strip. Ah, great. We have to visit Vin.
Actually, you're right and wrong at the same time, because believe it or not, Vin's not in this game at all.
But I can definitely recognize this map. Yeah, this is definitely Vin's office from 2 and 3. But yeah, he's just not here.
Yeah, for whatever reason.
Maybe he had to go on a grocery run.
You have to go home.
Maybe they just did that way to make sure to not contradict that. Technically, Daxter meeting him in Jak 2 was like the very first time.
Yeah, and to be fair, I guess he was at the strip mining office, just in a different Oh.
So yeah, welcome to the strip mine.
Hello there, friendly.
Definitely looks like it's been stripped of most of its minerals, for all it's worth.
Hello.
But I think with that said, we can go ahead and call it there.
I think that's fair. We did a lot today.
So yeah, see you all next time as we strip these mines even further of its resources.
Oh boy.
Oh, load.